In my last FPV video, this drone overheated.
First manual mode, I'm in manual mode. Oh, system overheated. Return to home. What do you mean?
So these DJI drones are far from perfect. And if you're looking at buying either the DJI FPV or the Avata, you need to watch this video. So I'm fairly new to FPV and I picked up these drones because, to be honest, the traditional FPV setups were kind of intimidating. I've been flying drones for over 10 years, including the Inspire 2, the Mavics, the Phantoms when they first came out, so I love drone flying. But FPV was just too scary. FPV drones looked like little bombs just ready to go off. When I saw them, I thought, there's no way I want to deal with that. So when the DJI FPV drones came out, I was just stoked. I was so excited to be able to get into this field of drone flying and test it out to see if I actually liked it. So I went and did the simulator, got my skills up, and then I went for my first flight, and that's when tragedy struck.
Okay, here we go. Holy shit, okay. My goodness. I'm very scared. That's okay. Just calm down. Calm down, it's alright. Okay. Go back to normal mode. Whew. Holy shit, that was scary. Okay, that was cool though. But oh my god, my legs are shaking. My legs are shaking. Okay, we're in manual mode. Okay. Scared. Go back to normal mode. It's just there's so many trees around here, I just don't have a lot to fly with. It's fucking scary. And it just goes so quick. It's okay, baby steps. Just go flicking from manual mode to normal mode. First manual mode, I'm in manual mode. Oh, system overheated. Return to home. What do you mean? Holy shit. It started to descend. What do you mean it overheated?
By this stage, I'm already shitting myself with flying this thing. So I've done hours and hours in the simulator and I finally get the guts to go and get this thing up in the air. So I'm flying around and all of a sudden the drone pulls up and I get this beeping and alert warning message. And it was an overheating message. And at the time, I was just so full of adrenaline, I didn't really think about it that much, which was kind of stupid. But I just thought, oh, it's just DJI, it's just a warning, it doesn't matter. Kept flying, it kept happening again and again. Googled it and I couldn't really find a solution to it, so I contacted DJI. So long story short, I had to send this back. Now this is in my midst of hours and hours of sim training and I just wanted to fly the bloody thing and then I had to send it away. Props to DJI though, because they paid for the postage, they got it back to me really quick. They pretty much, I think they replaced the whole unit because it was all sealed. I got a brand new box. So they fixed it free of charge. So props to them for their service. It was absolutely spot on. And I did hear about this happening to a few units. So it was an ongoing issue, whether it came from the factory or whatever. There was something wrong with the computer system or the motors talking to each other that caused this error. Now, since I got the new drone back, I haven't had any issues. But having said that, I've had to go through a vigorous licensing system here in Australia where there's really strict rules for flying FPV in Australia. But I'm now licensed, so here we go. Now, while I had overheating issues with this sucker, the Avata has its own box of issues. So the Avata is known to just randomly dive bomb the ground, which is not ideal. Now, I have done some research into this and it does appear there's two sides to this story. Some people think that it's pilot error, so it's how you actually fly this drone. Now, this drone is a cine whoop, so it's not meant to be flown like this drone. It's a it's a different flying style, so to speak. So some people are saying if you try and fly this drone like this drone is not going to like it and is going to dive bomb into the ground. Now, I have seen other videos where this is just cruising along and it does literally just dive into the ground. So I think there is an underlying issue here with the Avata. Thank God I have not had this issue yet. I will absolutely freak out if it happens to me, especially if it's on a commercial job. You don't need that uncertainty when you're flying FPV at those speeds. So there are some other negatives about these drones which I will touch on as well. The first is the DJI FPV drone is bloody heavy. It's a heavy chunker. Now, while this drone has changed the game when it comes to FPV, it has allowed so many people to get into the sport, to get into the hobby and just give FPV a go. If you crash this thing into the ground, it's going to shatter into a million pieces. This is like plastic. These arms, I'll show you some pictures here. They just snap. The motors fall out. You're pretty much going to have to buy a new drone when you crash this thing. You're going to get a couple of crashes and she's done. That being said, with the safety features on this thing, with the emergency button and the GPS, don't crash it. Like there's more safety nets in there for you to not crash this thing. So you just have to have your little finger on that emergency button ready so you can pull this thing up before it crashes. The other thing is it is heavy. So if this is flying at somebody or into the ground, this is going to do some serious damage and it's heavy. So being so heavy will slow it down compared to a traditional FPV drone. The other thing that I'm not a fan of on this drone is the camera quality. Now you'll see this 3D print of a GoPro mount here. Most people who have this drone are using a GoPro on the top. Now that is obviously going to slow battery life, it makes it heavier, but the image quality you can get from the GoPro is outstanding and second to none. Another downer about this drone is it's obviously not as agile as your traditional FPV. Because it's so heavy, it's kind of a weird design, but that's what you have to expect with a drone with so many features. Now when it comes to the Avata, there are also some issues this baby has. Now the main issue for me is this dive bombing problem that it has. Now that in itself just creates uncertainty for me. So when you are flying a drone and you want to feel good and you want to feel confident in your equipment that it's not going to let you down. So the fact that this has this glitch in it makes me weary to fly this drone, especially around people or in a situation where it could be a risk. So that kind of kills it. You know, you don't want to be taking risks when you don't have to and you don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully DJI releases some sort of firmware update to get rid of this bug. Now another downer about the Avata is obviously the plastic body. Now this drone is far, far, far more durable than this drone. You can crash this thing multiple times. I've seen it crash and crash and crash and it's a sturdy little motherfucker. That is a winner, but it's also plastic. So you know, it's not ideal. Another thing, which is kind of a minor thing that I don't like about this drone, is the SD card placement. It is in here behind the blade and it is so fiddly to get to. It's frustrating. And also you have to remember to keep, if that pops out, you're going to be hitting the blade and you're going to cause all sorts of drama. So you also have to just remember to always make sure that's pushed right in there. Otherwise, you're in for a world of hurt. The other thing is the weight of this drone. Now, obviously, with all the features and stuff like that, that's why it's so weighty. And obviously, the battery is a big part of that as well. But you do get that extended flying time. So, and that's it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you have the DJI FPV or if you have the Avata or if you fly traditional FPV. Let me know in the comments below and let me know which one you prefer. And that's it. Hooroo. See you in the next one.